Hi, it's Christy of So to Speak, and welcome back to the Closet series. Have you ever seen a movie in the movie theater alone? Alone, as in, yes, there may be a full packed house of strangers, but you don't have anyone you know to your left or to your right. You walked in alone. I'm telling you, highly underrated experience. I had the good fortune of falling upon this back in the day, back in 97, with Roberto Benigni's It's a Beautiful Life. No, it's Life is Beautiful. That's what it's called. Life is Beautiful. And it is the most underrated experience that you can have. I went and saw this movie, no idea the impact that it would be. If you've seen the movie, you totally know what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, it is just full. It is the essence of humanity. It is the essence of resiliency of the human spirit and inspiration and hope and family, love. Oh my goodness, it goes on and on. And the movie ended, the credits were rolling. I was in awe, and I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I could sit in that movie theater as long as I wanted to. I didn't have to talk about the experience afterwards. I was able to fully sit and relish it and just ease my way back into reality. And it was such a beautiful experience. I jumped in the car and I went on the country roads in the back, going super slow with no music on, and it forever changed me and my take on going to see movies. So I highly recommend it. And if you want to get a little risky, a little frisky afterwards, go have dinner alone with a glass of wine to really seal the date. That's what Julia Cameron, the author of the infamous The Artist's Way, calls the artist date. Take your artist out for a date. For me, it's taking my artist out to go see a movie and then go out and get a glass of wine. Yours may look different, but I do recommend at least once in your life going to see a movie alone. Now, when I do go to the movies with people, with friends, our next guest is someone who I would absolutely love to be in the company of as we take in a movie in the movie theater. Her name is Chase Manley. I can't speak enough about her. She is a loving, passionate, inspiring human. She is a professor at the Newhouse School of Communications at Syracuse University. And she is also, yay, a business owner. She just launched her new venture, which is Chasin' Butterflies. It's a company that is a private acting coaching company. And I've seen her in action with her students, and she's firm and fair, and she sees in them beyond what they can even see, and gives them this trusting, beautiful space for them to fully go for it. As my old acting teacher Ronnie Dangle said, go for broke. It's easier to go for broke and then reel people back in versus trying to get out of them what we know is inside of them. And Chase just nails it. She allows people to fully express themselves creatively in a way that is so liberating and exciting. And I am so excited to introduce her to you, or introduce you to her. You guys are going to meet. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy our conversation, and then go see that movie alone.
It also makes me think of something that I've been reading a lot about in the National Geographic. I've been really fascinated about centarians and these blue zones around the
Yes,
world
totally.
where people just for some strange reason, climate, nutrition, lifestyle, religion, whatever, all of those components kind of come into this beautiful recipe of beautiful healthy lives, and they live beyond 100. And one of the big things, a lot of them had a spiritual practice every day, whatever religion it was. one of the big components that stood out for me was that they always met with a group of friends, like a socializing place every day where they, and I think that we are packs. We grew up in packs. We need each other. And that might be what everyone is feeling right now. You know, not only is our technical world taking us away from each other, um, but you know, there's no replication or duplication or comparison to actual getting together.
I would love you to also speak about just the power of the arts right now in regards to feeling isolated, being inside. You shared that beautiful 2.5 minute film that one of your students did, and it was really profound. So, just any thoughts you have on that?
Well, I was teaching a freshman course last semester when this all broke out. And it was a course that's a very hands-on filmmaking course. They make a public service announcement. They do a journalistic piece, one-on-one with someone that's very fascinating to them. And then they also do their own short film or a silent film. They have options. And it's designed, the curriculum's designed, a lot of the components of what we try to achieve, the outcome, the educational outcome, is to work with others, lighting, directing, sound, camera, all that. So they really have to learn how to work in groups. And this kind of spearheads a nice new kind of theme that they'll have throughout the film school. So because that was cut short, all of a sudden all the students had to make their own films and work autonomously. And it was really interesting. But this one film came out of it that was so inspirational that this has never happened to me in the 8 years that I've been teaching there. I just broke down in tears when I saw this little film. And it's so simple. It's that the power of less is more, because he just saw what was in front of him, and who was in front of him in the Virgin Islands was his little brother, and they were, locked down, and he saw and felt the pain that his little brother had when his brother couldn't go outside and play at the beach or with his friends or anything. So he just said, this means a lot to me, and I feel so much for him. And I always tell my film students, if you're excited about something or you're upset about something, you feel something, you've got to make the film about that. Otherwise, it won't have that power, right? And what he did is he utilized the situation and turned it into something positive about this little boy who takes his cell phone, hooks it up to his skateboard, and kind of controls it. It's kind of a fantasy thing because he sends the skateboard out and connects it to his video games at home and tries to connect it, and so therefore he virtually gets to be on the beach and out. But it's the music, the filming, everything else. Of course, the kid is very talented. It's not just the idea. But what it made me think of is that what we talked about a little bit earlier is that we're forced to look at the positive and make the best out of what we have right now. And that's all we have. And we have to help each other and get back to each other. There's almost a stigma now and almost like a little bit of a fear attached to getting together. Like I think about, I want to get together with you and my friends and introduce you to some new friends. But then there's that little thing that says, well, wait a minute, who's going to feel uncomfortable? Who's not going to feel safe? And that's really the big thing that's bothering me, because I've had such a small family that I have always thought as my friends being my family. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And so how do we get back to that? I'm not quite sure, but I do feel we need people. We need connection. We need human connection. And I think we really need to reach out to the seniors right now. They're the ones that really need the love and connection as soon as we can safely, because they're the ones that have been so isolated.
Yes.
So, just putting it out there, whatever you can do for the nursing homes as soon as we can. I really feel that the elderly deserve us.
They do. What I was saying to you off camera before we started recording too is the film is he's your student's incredibly talented because within 2.5 minutes to evoke such an instant emotional response is no easy feat. I mean,
No.
it was really unbelievable. And seeing his brother, speaking of nursing homes, and I said this to you before, there's this shot of his brother sitting in a chair by the window, just longing to go outside. And it made me so sad. It made me immediately think of someone in a nursing home who
Yes.
sees right outside this super thin pane of glass, the world,
Right. Right.
and it was so emotional. And I feel like the power of films, right? You and I can talk about this, and we have for, I think, one time at your house for close to 12 hours. I was the thing that never left, but I think you liked it. I'm going to go with it. You loved it actually, but anyway,
We were developing
much
one of
to
my
appreciate.
students. We redeveloped one of my students' short
Yes,
films.
we did. And I think we did a great job at it. But that was a little bit of wine in, but that's, in vino veritas. So, but we just had a wonderful time. But the point is we talk so frequently, it's just part of our nature to just go into the power of films and the power of movies specifically with you, the arts in general, but movies with you, and just from that 2.5 minutes, how much empathy you have for children who can't play outside, for
Yeah.
the extremes, right? Not
Right.
to discount us in the middle, but the seniors who don't have a choice and can't go
Right.
outside, and
Right.
for your student to have that empathy for his brother, to
Yeah.
understand. So like we talk at the beginning of our conversation about feeling good and how it's not selfish and it's helpful, and sometimes processing the feelings of sucky, like the
Mhm.
crappy lower vibe energy feelings, is the way to get there.
I mean,
It's not
you
about
might have.
never feeling bad. It's about paying attention when you do so that you can then shift it and alchemize it into something like that beautiful film.
Yes, and even if it could be creating a film, could be creating music, could be creating anything. But it could also be just watching something. I mean, I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but my husband and I watched Love Actually 4 times this Christmas.
Why are you embarrassed to admit that? I think
Well,
that's
I mean,
something to celebrate.
it just evokes so much love and beauty and really touches on so many different forms of love and human connection. And I just never get sick of it. And just the airport scenes in the beginning and the end.
Oh my
I
God,
mean, I just,
insane.
you know, but I wanted to read you a quick quote that I found,
Yes.
because I have this book. It's called Quotes That Will Change Your Life. And so I magically, like every day, I just open it up and see, and like, okay, what quotes meant for me? Remember when you went into my bathroom and you opened up the little book, the
Yes.
and you said, what, what was, so this is what came up magically because I knew I was going to meet you. It said, artists, to my mind, are the real architects of change, and not the political legislators who implement change after the fact.
Oh, can you read it again, please?
By William S. Burroughs. Artists, to my mind, are the real architects of change, and not the political legislators who implement change after the fact.
Ain't that the truth, man?
I mean, think
Oh,
about that.
it's so beautiful. I
Just
love the
how,
architect. I love
yes,
the creating.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
um, you know,
Mm.
some people, this is another quote, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to read a bunch of quotes, but we were talking about artists, and everything we think of as great has come to us from neurotics.
Yay!
It is they and they alone who found religions and create great works of art. The world will never realize how much it owes to them and what they have suffered in order to bestow their gifts on it.
I have no idea what made you want to read that quote while you were talking to me.
Well,
Neurotic
basically,
for the win. Yes, go on.
remember Seal? We're never the line that Seal says in his song, "We're never going to survive unless we're a little crazy," right?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
need those crazy people. We need artists, and
Yes.
art
Are
is
they crazy, right? Like it's the question of it's the one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Like who's crazy?
maybe
Nurse Ratched or
maybe we're the smart ones, right?
that's right.
My husband works with autistic children and things like that, and he says, I learn from them every day, and he feels they're gifts to us to learn things about ourselves, and vice versa, of
Sure.
course. But I just thought that was really beautiful too. I mean, I when I taught children at the YMCA for 8 years acting, um, I realized in the middle of those 8 years, wow, I'm not teaching acting. I mean, I was, but I was teaching humanity and teaching people how to feel. Like I just came across one of these little sheets that I used in my classes, and it was to break down the character. And is the character happy, sad? You know, are they strong, weak? Are they brave, scared, drained, and excited? I'd have them fill out the character sheet for their characters that they were going to write for the movie they're going to make. And what I realized was that vicariously through doing that exercise with them, they were doing like therapy for themselves. It was the craziest thing. I saw transformation in their growth as people. Forget the acting. I mean, of course, they became better actors, but they were listening to each other better. And so artists are cool. They're important. They change our whole society. But I also think that the arts are very healing to oneself. I mean, I can sit here all day and talk about all the failed artistic careers that I pursued. But then I can tell you very poignant lessons I learned about myself by pursuing those careers. And it all came back to just being comfortable with me. So acting was interesting to me because I knew I had to love myself. So art can be something that creates something great, but it also, I think, is very, very healing and so important. Because when these kids wrote these things down, they were talking about themselves because that's all they had. They weren't creating a character, they were regurgitating and dealing with what they were feeling inside, is what I always noticed.
And they're in self-expression is probably, I believe, one of the most underrated values and qualities that we have control over, and not everybody does have control over it, so it's a major privilege. It's
Mm-hmm.
such a privilege. Like if you have, there's a quote I have here, I'm going to read it to you. This just made me think of it. I didn't even plan to read this. I'm excited.
Cool.
So all of you people who love quotes will love this episode. So it's a Jung quote, and it says, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are."
Wow.
The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. To be able to have the freedom to express yourself in whatever form that is to you is such a privilege, because people all over the world do not have that right. It's been stripped from them.
Right.
So if you have that, if you want your bell rung, if you want to like go deeper, if you don't, that's, we all have that prerogative. But what a privilege it is to look at creating from that place, and that expression of the kids to be able to have that at such a young age. And
Mm-hmm.
there's and I'm biased as hell, but they're so lucky to have been graced with you in their life, because you have this fierce love that is so palpable. I feel it. I've seen you in action. You and I have been able to work together with kids, and you hold them accountable. You have tough love with them, but you are so protective of them. And you want to you're Pisces, you're super intuitive. So you see what's in them, and you just have this really incredible way of giving them the safe space to show that. So I just think it's such an incredible gift. And I'm I love you. I'm just so happy I know you and you're in my
Are
life.
you saying that I'm an HSP,
Tell me, I don't know what that means.
a highly sensitive person?
Oh, I didn't even really, yes, I am, but like a fierce badass HSP.
There's a really good TED talk on people who are HSPs, that the world needs us. Yeah, it's very difficult to live in our skin because we feel a
Yes.
lot of things that we can't, we have to learn how to draw the boundaries.
Mhm.
So it becomes a really great skill as a teacher, as a partner, as a sibling, or, but you become very deeply, easily taken down the road of losing yourself by giving too much
Yes.
or feeling something that someone else is going through, and it can ruin your day, so you have to learn how to draw the boundaries. But speaking back to your point about teaching and tough love and things like that, it's interesting. There are people that I feel learn so much about themselves by practicing art, by painting, by taking whatever they're feeling in and getting out with, painting, dancing, whatever it is. It's such a healthy thing to have, and should be, I think, prerequisites, and should be in every academic program, I think. But there are people that are just artists. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to really get a lot out of learning to be an actor or whatever, just because they are an actor. They're just born an actress. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's some wacko artist, and you just, or musicians, and you're just like, you are just an artist. It's just a thing, and that's a beautiful gift for us here in the world. For instance, this one little girl I'm coaching, I honestly cannot see her doing anything else with her life. I can't see her being, working as a businesswoman. I can't see her being even a mother. Like, she's just an actress. That's what she is. They live and breathe
Mhm.
art. And
Mhm.
those people are such gifts to us, in all shapes and forms. And then other people just learn things about themselves through the arts, I think. I
Yes.
think there are two different
Yes.
people. And whether you utilize art to get to know yourself or to deal, I mean, remember, Hemingway said, write write about what upsets you, and it's going to be brilliant. That's what he did.
Oh,
Whatever,
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Never heard that.
Hmm. And he committed suicide, I think.
Yeah.
So
Don't go down
I,
those paths.
I mean, he was really upset. But no, I think I tell my students that if they're stuck, sort of writer's block or whatever, when they're writing a screenplay, I say, well, what really upsets you? Even when they have to do their public service announcement, what organization do you really feel for? And piggybacking on that idea, I tell everybody, from every student that I have, every college student, every grad student that's looking for a job in the entertainment business, I said, you have to ask yourself, what would I do for no money at all? And you might not be able to make money from that, but that's your springboard upon which you bounce off and catapult into the world, I believe, to find where your place is in this universe. Wake up and say to yourself, what would I do for no money at all? And just love it and get there at 5 a.m. and just pound out the work and just be smiling the whole day and come home and feel gratitude for what you just did. And you'll usually find it. It may take a little time, but I've asked that to a few of my students, and they really, if you really do ask yourself that, you might not find it, you might not make cash at it right away. Um, I mean, hell, I never thought I'd be teaching at a college in upstate New York, but I'm so happy. Finally, in my 50s. I mean, thanks. Could I have gotten a little happier earlier? No, I got married, bought a house, and found my dream career at 50.
Right.
Whatever,
Well,
whatever.
you're like the living proof of what they say that 50 is like, when it all, I've heard, comes together. Like, you fully are embracing who you are. You're knowing you're you've almost fully shed what you don't need. There's always growing to do, but that it's this space where you are fully taking on areas of your life. They almost kind of all come together. So I love that that's happening, and I'm not surprised that that's happening. And just thank you so much for being a part of this. If anybody wants to reach out to you for any acting coaching or just to learn more about
Mhm.
what you do, where can they find you?
They can just email me at Chase Clifford and the number 1 at Gmail. And my website for my little company that's coming up, I'm going to be managing talent and coaching actors remotely from LA and New York. And that company is called Chasin Butterflies, CHASIN, butterflies.com.
And I'll
So
put
that,
that written out in the show notes too, so people can get to that as well.
yeah, and if they just want to, take an acting class and just to kind of get out of their shell, or they know a student that is going to college and needs practice with their monologues, or somebody who's aspiring to be an actor, anything like that. I also help actors edit their reels
Oh,
together
no.
too.
Okay.
Mhm.
And everything's Zoom. So no matter where you are in the world, you can reach out to Chase and she can help you out. And so run with that. I mean, take advantage of that. No matter where you live, one of the blessings of COVID is that you have access. You have access to things that you never thought you would possibly have indefinite access to. So take advantage of it. Chase, I love you so much. Give
Love
Holly
you.
and Ed.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
So fun.
So great seeing your beautiful face.
Same. Absolute same.